Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another show of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the pleasure of having Kara Vaval, who is a lawyer down in Southern Florida, and she is known as the Laptop Lifestyle Lawyer. And so, Kara, I was on your podcast several weeks ago, and now I'm going to get to interview you. And it's a lot easier to ask the questions than it is to answer them, as you know. So I wanted you to just tell people about your story, because you got an interesting story, and then we'll get right into it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on your podcast, Ken. It was so awesome having that conversation with you a couple of weeks ago. So I was really looking forward to this. I'll actually take you all the way back to the beginning for me. I grew up in Haiti. I'm an island girl from the Caribbean. Grew up and had a pretty charmed life growing up. And then, tragedy struck very early in my life. I was 14 and my dad was murdered back home in Haiti. And so it was a very rough start to life, but one that, I always say life happens for you. It doesn't really happen to you. And I didn't know back then that it was happening for me. It was a tragedy back then, but it left me with this sense of having to, sink or swim. So I think that over the years, I saw that thread in my life where it was always finding a way, being resourceful, doing, just because I always had to really do it on my own. And so I moved to New York for my last year of high school, went to college there, came down to South Florida for law school. And, just to kind of fast forward into where I am today, I went to law school and I graduated in May of 2008, and I took the bar in July of 2008. And I was waiting for my results to come out in September. But in August, I found out that I had passed a pregnancy test. Because that's exactly what you do out of law school, rookie, and of course, the bar results come out September 22nd, 2008, and September 29th, 2008, the market crashes. So I was just giving you like the full picture of what my life was like back then. And so here I am pregnant. I am eating everything. I'm sleepy. Excuse my French, peeing all the time. You've never been pregnant. You don't know what that looks like, but that was my life, right? And I have a new job with the securities litigation attorney, super sophisticated, who had been an SEC lawyer for like 40 years in New York. So you already know the disparity, is that the word? Between our educational and sophisticated level. And here I am, I'm working for him. I feel small. He doesn't really care to have me in the office as much as he did in the beginning, because he's disappointed in the fact that, I was not going to be able to perform at the level that he needed me to. It was like this space where I hated my job, but I need the job. Sally Mae wants her money back. I'm uncomfortable because I was never supposed to be pregnant out of law school. I was supposed to make partner before this happened, but this is life happening again. And, this is where I was. And when I had my son, I just didn't want to go back to work. Not for him anyways, right? I wanted to make money. I needed to make money. But my first year in law school, after law school, was very miserable as an associate. It was just like, is this what I went to school for? This is what I did all of this work. I'm 7 years into this, with education from college and all this debt. I'm in debt up to my eyeballs at that point. And I'm a new mom and I don't know what to do to make my own money. I need this job, but I don't want the job, So anyways, So I get my leave, my maternity leave, and 3 months into the maternity leave, I got to go back to work because I'm running out of, savings. It's not like I had paid maternity leave, and I don't want to go back. And so when my back's against the wall, I do one thing. I pray. I pray hard. So I prayed and I was like, God, listen, like this, I need an intervention. I need something. And my something actually came in the form of a Mary Kay lady walking up to me at a Target nearby and offering me a facial. She came to my house, we exchanged numbers. She came to my house. She did her facial. By the time I was done with her, I was a Mary Kay consultant for $100. I always say I bought my freedom for $100. I got my starter kit and I started selling the stuff. I was selling the face creams and the makeups and all of that. And I was doing the work from home thing and I started making money and I funded my law firm that way. I just started, I got the laptop, I got the address, the Suite 1000. Everybody had Suite 1000, but I had a professional address, and I made 5,000 flyers that I went around in all the neighborhood restaurants, barbershops, and just that's how the phone started ringing. And I implemented this virtual work from home model without even realizing that I was doing something that was ahead of our time, right? Back then. And yeah. I ran my practice like that. I was getting tons of cases when I was doing my skincare classes and the facial parties at these ladies' homes. I would tell them that I'm a lawyer and they'd say, oh my God, I have so-and-so needs a divorce lawyer, or so-and-so, I have a friend who's got immigration issues. And I started growing my firm. And then fast forward a few years later, I had one of my clients who was a family law client get into a car accident. And she called me and said, listen, I have this accident I just had. I need help with a lawyer. I said, look, I don't do PI, but I can definitely get you someone. And she says, you know what, Kara, I don't want to work with another lawyer. Can you figure it out? I said, girl, I'll figure it out, but it's not my thing. So I took her case. I sent her for treatment. It was her and her daughter. And I put together this demand and they tendered $20,000 and I made $6,000. And I was like, oh shit, I'm a PI lawyer. Yeah. Forget this family law business. Like, who wants to bill $350 an hour, so many hours to make $6,000, right? Yep. And so that's kind of how I got into PI. But while I was in Mary Kay, one of the things that company and this network marketing world is very big on is personal development. So I started getting into all of these books, and I ended up meeting someone through this journey who really put me on to some materials like The Science of Getting Rich and The Power of the Subconscious Mind and all of this stuff. And I was like, what? I'm creating my life? Like, it's my subconscious mind. Like, I was getting into all of this stuff. And I found out I had a subconscious mind. I was 31 years old, right? And so and being from Haiti, I was like, oh my God, no, that information hasn't reached the Caribbean, right? No one is doing like the Tony Robbins, like seminars and stuff like that down in Haiti and Creole. So I endeavored to do that, started writing what was going to be the content of webinars that I was going to teach. And then I had a friend come down from New York. She was looking at what I had written. And she goes, you have enough stuff here for a book. And I was like, a book? I'm not an author. I'm a lawyer. Like, I'm not doing that. And then she was like, I think you should have an editor look at it. And I had an editor look at it. And she was like, yeah, you have good stuff here. So then a year later, I published my book, 28,000 Days, Make Yours Count. And it's all about living, your life on your terms and creating your life, and, that you are in control and that life did not happen to you. It happened for you. And if you just follow the kind of like the I call it the rabbit hole. You figure out what your life really was, there to teach you and to serve for. And then after I wrote the book, I was like, wait a minute, lawyers could use some of what I got and this perspective that I have and the way that I do what I do in my practice. And so uh, I wrote was an outline for this course that I have, and I sent it to the Florida bar. And I said, I want to teach lawyers how to start their virtual firm. This was before COVID, about 3 years ago. And they assigned 11 CLE credits to this outline. I was like, holy shit, I have something good here. So then I put the meat around it, and it's now I've been coaching. I've been using it to coach, but now I have this course, and I've been helping lawyers who are, where I was 12 years ago, and who just need a blueprint, who just want to know how to do this thing on their term that looks like them, that makes room for family, and it's not, you don't have to pick or choose career over family. And that's how I trademark myself, the laptop lifestyle lawyer. And so I know it's a mouthful, but that's really been my journey. That's how I got here today.
Well, I think it's a great journey, and I think you're absolutely right that we talk about success is everybody's definition is different, and in Pilma we have a lot of lawyers that just want more cases and want to make more money. But I think you hit a certain stage in life, or some of them right up front, they want a balanced life. Like you said, they want family. I had one lawyer that his big deal was he wanted to be out of office by 2:30, 3 o'clock every day so he could pick his kids up from school and spend time with them, because, evidently his father didn't spend a lot of time with him, and he was determined to be different, right?
Right.
That was more important to him than, he said, I just want to make a comfortable living, but I want to have some time with my kids. Because when they get grown, then you can't, actually, once they get to teenagers, they don't want to do nothing with you.
Right. And, my son recently turned 12, and I was telling that story, and his birthday, he wanted us to take him to the beach with his buddies, and they had their bikes, and they wanted to just ride on the boardwalk. That was his birthday party. And all of the adults stayed under a tent at the beach, and they were nowhere to be found, these boys, right? And, I was really present to the fact that I didn't feel like, oh my God, he grew up so fast. I didn't miss anything. I'm happy that he's here and that he's 12, and that's the stage that he's in, because I did everything that I wanted to do with him. We went to we did many of those Disney trips, and I picked him up and took him and went to the park and did the mommy and me dates and all of that, so I'm fine with him being 12 right now and wanting less to do with me. I'm really fine with that.
So you were talking about books. Have you ever read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
Of course.
Yeah,
I actually listen to the Earl Nightingale 45-minute version of that weekly. I can probably recite that entire, like I recite it with Earl Nightingale while he's saying it. Yeah. That was a game changer for me. Think and Grow Rich was a game changer. The 13 principles. Those are, yeah. I guide my life by that. Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was one of my favorite books too. And that's why we talked about it on your podcast, but I love masterminds, and that's where I got that. That's where I really learned about masterminds. Rockefeller and Firestone, they were doing it back, in the early 1900s. But getting back to you, so now you do mostly just personal injury, right?
Mostly personal injury. I'll do the occasional divorce if I have, because I know what I'm doing. Right. And if someone who, they're not having such a highly disputed situation, I can help out. But PI is my thing. And helping lawyers do the same thing. I have this PI lawyer playbook that I give the lawyers who want to start their own PI practice. Because I think it's good to have, even if it's not your main area. If you're doing some pre-suit work, it's good for cash flow from
Yeah.
time to time to have that settlement come down. And sometimes you can win big, and so it's good to at least be in that game. And so I'm very much a proponent of PI.
Something you said earlier that really stuck in my mind, and it tells me you're an entrepreneur at heart, is that the 5,000 or whatever, 500, I can't remember what you said.
5,000 flyers. It cost me $150.
Yeah. See, that's, I think, was ingenious, because the deal is, and I don't even know what you had on them, and it don't really matter, but the deal is the fact that you had to hustle to get out there and do it in the grit. I was talking to one of our one of my partners in one of my businesses, and he's doing a podcast, and he's been interviewing like John Morgan, all these real successful, highly successful people, not just lawyers but other people that are just very super successful. And he says the thing that keeps going in, he said there seems to be a commonality. He said it's just that they just never gave up. I said it's called grit. I mean, I think that separates the people. You don't have to be the smartest. I definitely was not number one in my class. I had to work to get my grades. I mean, they didn't come easy like some people. But the deal is, I never looked at anything like, well, I can't do that. I think if you set limitations, then that's what you're going to have, limitations, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like, and I think that's you're a living example of that. You didn't, you said, I don't want to go back to work. I'm going to do something different, and I did it, and here I am.
Find a way, make a way.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you so somebody that's going to be a laptop lifestyle lawyer, the question I would have, and I think I know the answer, but I want to let you tell the answer. So I know lawyers will say, "Well, I don't want nobody in my house. I got to have, I got to have an assistant or something." How do you work that? Do you have it like a secretary or a?
Oh yeah, everyone works remote, but it was, for me, it was sexy before COVID made it sexy. I never really wanted somebody in my house either, right? Yeah. I don't want an assistant here. I mean, unless they're going to work by the pool with me, which my assistants love working for me because it's, our work environment is very nice. Palm trees outside, by the pool. No one has a problem with that,
Right.
And we have meetings in my house from time to time, when we need to do team meetings, going through the cases, those things happen. If we don't want to do it on Zoom, I invite them here. But for the most part, everyone works from home. The system from day one for me, I don't know where I got that insight. Everything was always on the cloud. Before the cloud was a thing, I was using Dropbox. I was using the softwares that were cloud-based. I was using the voice over IP phone. And so I was always able to make my calls from anywhere. I always loved the feature of the simultaneous ring. So even though I had a receptionist service, it rang on my phone in the app. So I always knew if they were picking up the phone or not. So I kept my hand on the pulse of my business at all times. And so, I've been doing that. And if someone wants to have the laptop lifestyle lawyer setup, it's pretty simple. There was never, it was so basic that my overhead for very many years didn't surpass $300. And fast forward when I actually had, consistent help, where I brought on consistent help with attorneys. I always went with third-year law students. They were clerking and then they became attorneys. When they were barred, then we had an arrangement with regards to how we were handling their attorney's fees. And so it was never this large overhead and this, that. So for me, I was always able to work my practice and grow my practice in a way that was never overwhelming. I never had the crazy rent that I had to sweat over to keep the lights on. I've had friends who started their firms and they had rent $2,500 a month. I'm like, that means you're not even, this is not your assistant, not everything else. You got to make all this money before you clear a profit and to pay yourself and your family. And then it's, plus. but do you even have the flow of business for that yet? My firm told me when I was ready to grow to all of that. And when I started, my firm could not afford that.
Right.
My firm could only afford me. Right?
So now do you have like a place you go meet clients, like a Regis office center?
Yeah, I've always had Regis. My Suite 1000 was at Regis. It continues to be there. I had the bug to get an office probably, I think it was 4 years ago. I signed a lease for a year. I probably went to the office 5 times that entire year. You know, it's just not my thing. I had an assistant in there. So, you know, it was this whole feel that I needed somewhere to put someone. And you really don't. It's a choice. So yeah. I did it. And then after that year, I gave the keys back because it was much cheaper to either do a shared space at Regis or just have the people at home. And whenever I need a conference room or a fancy office, I can do it. And with PI especially, nobody cares. I'll tell you, for me, the stigma of the whole having the office came more from my colleague attorneys, my fellow attorneys, than it was my clients. Because my clients understood that my business model was, I'm going to be able to, you know, charge you less and pass on my savings to you if you are comfortable with this setup. They never had a problem meeting with me at Panera Bread or at Starbucks or anywhere. And so that's always how I did it. And the ones that were fancy, I'll tell you what I used to do. So I had my little rolly bag, you know, the rolly bag that you get in law school. And if I had to book the office for the $25 an hour, I would go in probably 10 minutes before the client came, right? I rolled myself in and I put my business cards on the table. I put my family picture on there. You know, I damn near hung my diploma on the wall with a thumbtack, right? So, and, you know, as soon as they were done signing the retainer and they got the looks that they wanted, I watched them walk to their office through the window. I mean, their car through the office window. And once they got in their car, I took my damn laptop back in my bag. I took my business card, put them there, my family picture, and off I went. I went back home to work. And I was cranking out the work, and the reviews kept coming out that they were good. So the work was good. And that's really all they cared about.
So let me ask you, when lawyers are thinking about doing this, you know, working out of their house and having more of a balanced life, what do you see, or what are the perceptions as far as the reasons? What do you see as the obstacles of holding people back from doing that, lawyers? I mean, what is their perception? I can't do it because of this or this or this or this one.
Well, I think, you know, first it's kind of like this imposter syndrome of feeling like they're lesser than, you know, or people are going to take them seriously. I think that COVID has definitely helped to take that stigma off, because everybody went home and we saw that everything continued to function just fine. You know, lawyers now, they show up in court with their, you know, on their Zoom with the jacket on top and shorts on the bottom. You know, I've done a couple hearings with my PJ shorts, you know, at the bottom, and a nice jacket or, you know, blazer on top. So I think that it's all perception. When I first got out and was doing that, don't get me wrong, there was parts of me that felt like lesser than, right? I had to build my confidence around this way of doing things because, you know, I had worked with a very sophisticated attorney, and that's who I was looking up to. And that's who I had as my model. And that's what I was aspiring to look like. And so, you know, you kind of have this how a lawyer should be or should look. But I think the more I came into my own, and I think fell in love with me as I am and accepted me as I am, I began showing up as Kara. And the more I won cases and I was getting these great results and I was getting these great reviews, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good as I am. I'm delivering great value to my clients. And that is as I am. So there's nothing wrong with the way I'm doing it. And so I'm here to really tell lawyers that your clients want you. They want your work. They don't want what you think a lawyer is supposed to be like. That persona, that ideal lawyer, quote unquote, that's no longer valid. That's something that I'm so happy that I let go of so many years ago. And I'm helping people see that. It's really take that standard off your head. Just be you, develop yourself, and do good work, and your clients will be very happy with you.
So now you built up this practice. So how does your practice look now? I mean, is it you and one assistant, or you got other lawyers working, or what's the deal?
Well, right now it's me and an assistant. I had an attorney who worked with me. She was actually an intern, and then she was clerking. Then she was with me 6 years. She just started her practice after taking my course. And, I was, with my blessings, so happy for her. And I kept pushing her. I says, look, I love that you're here, but as a leader for me, I want to graduate you out of here. So then someone else can come and learn through my practice and do their thing. And so she built her own confidence, took the laptop lifestyle lawyer course that I have, and was like, you know what, I can do this. And I continue to mentor her and help her. And she works on some of my cases, et cetera, some of the litigation stuff. But yeah. And so I have enough support because I'm doing, the course and the coaching and all of that. And it works. It works. The cases are settling. We're hitting our goals. We grow when we want to grow. And that's the beauty I love the elasticity of my firm. If I want to do more, then I want to make more, I can do that. If I want to kind of kick back a little bit and be more with the kids and whatever, I can do that. I don't have to have my firm look any kind of way at any given point if I don't want to.
So let me ask you this. The marketer in me wants to know, pick your brain. So how are you getting your cases?
Oh, I'm getting my cases through funnels online. I started doing a lot more online marketing and things like that because that's where everybody is. Yeah. You got to know that everyone's on their phone. That's why they get into so many car accidents.
You're doing PPC or LSA ads and.
Yeah, I do. I do videos. I do, right now we're actually building up a whole Facebook group and doing some targeted marketing there. SEO, of course, has always been, but a lot more of my cases come from word of mouth. I get a lot of referrals. Again, once you do good work, people just keep talking about you. I have a lot of walking billboards out there, tons of walking billboards, because I really love on my clients. My clients always get birthday cards for their birthdays. I know what's going on with their families. I have relationships with everyone we maintain relationships with the people that we've served in the past. My connection with the doctors, like yesterday I was out in Palm Beach, marketing, rainmaking. I have rainmaking on my calendar. I have a great MRI facility that I deal with that introduces me to the various doctors that I end up exchanging business with. Just grassroots, regular, belly to belly, knee to knee connections. Those are never out of style. I continue to stay active in the community, and I work with doctors who are active in the community. One of the doctors that I was connecting with yesterday, I said, well, how do you get your cases? He's like, the good old fashioned sponsoring the Major League Baseball team, being there, coaching or helping or serving in the community. It's not the billboard. You don't hear that very often, that it's like this huge budget around. It's the stuff that I did. It's the going to the restaurants and dropping out the flyers. And my assistant knows to do that. I don't go out anymore to do it, but she'll go. She'll have, Fridays are dedicated for her to do some of that work, or going to bring, bagels and donuts to some of the doctors that we work with, things like relationship maintenance, man. You establish the relationships and then you maintain them. And then they continue to bring business. I think it's, instead of continually looking for new ways and new ways, what about the ways that work and just continue to do more of that?
Yeah. Well, you're doing the right things. I mean, people thought I was crazy, but I'm really big into the books and things, and I created these little books, and I had the law firm still does it. They have a full-time guy that does nothing every day but goes around the doctor's office and put these books out of the 7 fatal mistakes accident victims make in North Carolina and how to avoid them. And we also do PILMA members. We get we got this set up with something like this. It's called a RX relief card, and for like a nickel piece, they put your logo on them, and we set those up in doctors' offices. Sometimes they won't let us put the books, so then we do the cards first and kind of warm up. Then we say, well, how about the books? And they gives them up like 70% off of their medicines if they don't have insurance at any like CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, all the major ones, and it really does work. If you got health insurance, it won't work. So yeah, and I preach that all the time. I said, just because I had a lawyer today ask me at my Q&A, how can I compete with all these big time TV lawyers? I said, grassroots, my friend, grassroots and internet. I said, although internet is getting tougher and tougher too, by the way, it's getting saturated because the TV lawyers have figured it out too. And, they're spending loads and loads. I know lawyers that are spending $250,000 a month on PPC, which is
right. Wow. But ultimately, it's you. You're the brand. You've got to know, and we talked about the unique value proposition, the unique selling proposition. I actually got the book. You see, I listened. I remember you told me about that. Got it, right? And so ultimately, it's who are you? Who are the people you want to serve? Yeah. Where are they hanging out, and how can you get in front of them?
Yep.
So I know who I am. I know where my avatar, so to speak, is hanging out, where they're all at. And I am purposely and strategically getting in front of them all the time. So I'm not competing with all the other ones, because how I show up and the message that I'm putting out there, I know I'm speaking to my person. I'm not speaking to everyone. I don't want everyone, actually, right? I know who I want. Yeah. And I know that when they hear me, they're going to want me. Yeah. And so that's why me helping, people say, oh my gosh, you're helping all these other lawyers start their PI practice. Aren't you afraid of competition? No, really, I'm not competing with them. I'm not going after their clients, and they're not coming after mine. The people who are going to come to me are going to come to me. And maybe I'm a little shishi foo-foo, but for some reason it's worked for me. We have plenty of work to keep us busy all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I had people tell me the same thing. You're giving away why you're giving away all these secrets. I said, I'm not worried about it. I was doing that before I sold out in 2010. I was selling out when you were just getting started. Yeah. It tells you how old I am, right? So listen, we're running out of time. Anything you would like to share that I hadn't asked, and I know you got an event coming up. I want you to talk about that, and also tell people how they can get up with you if they want to follow up and learn how to live this lifestyle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Well, July 15th, I'm going to be hosting a virtual event, and it's around how to start your virtual law practice overnight, because that's really what I did. And really, I'm going to give them everything that I did, the different steps, what to set up, what it looks like. And it's not brain surgery, but when you don't know it, you don't know what you don't know. Right. And so I'm going to be hosting that, like I said, July 15th. As far as how to find me, laptoplifestylelawyer.com. On every social media platform, I'm present, active on LinkedIn, Cara Vaval Official. And I'm happy to share, my I guess, information, knowledge with anybody who's interested in breaking free from the traditional lawyering and wanting to do something that really fits their life and gives them the time and money freedom that they went to law school for, converting your law degree into real cash on your terms. That's what I'm about.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.